The Bible skips 30 years of Jesus' life, and what happened in that silence might change everything you thought you knew. From age 12 to 30, Jesus vanished from the gospel record. 30 years, and the clues about what he actually did are hiding in plain sight. Mary and Joseph had just escaped Egypt with a newborn. Herod's soldiers were hunting them. They couldn't stay in Bethlehem, so they fled south into Egypt. Nobody knows exactly where or how long they stayed. But Egypt wasn't safe forever. When Herod died, an angel told Joseph it was safe to return. But Joseph was afraid to go back to Judea. Judea was ruled now by Archelaus, Herod's brutal son. So instead of Bethlehem, Joseph chose a tiny village called Nazareth. Nazareth was obscure. It was poor. It was barely on anyone's map. And that's exactly where Jesus grew up. Joseph was a tekton, a carpenter or builder. In a tiny village like Nazareth, that meant he built homes, repaired tools, made furniture. Jesus grew up watching his father work. For 30 years, he learned this trade: the texture of wood, the weight of tools, the patience it takes. Nazareth had maybe 400 to 500 people. Everyone knew everyone. And everyone knew that Mary's son had something different about him. The Gospels give us one snapshot of this period. When Jesus was 12, his family went to Jerusalem for Passover. The temple was enormous. The crowds were overwhelming, and Jesus went missing. Mary and Joseph searched for 3 days, and when they finally found him, he was sitting with the teachers, listening and asking questions. His teachers were astonished. He was asking profound questions, not like a child, but like someone who already understood. But when his parents appeared, Jesus obeyed them immediately. He left Jerusalem and returned to Nazareth with them. This tells us something crucial. Jesus didn't defy his parents. He didn't claim authority over them. He submitted. The Gospel of Luke says Jesus grew in wisdom, stature, and favor with God and man. He was fully human. He had to learn. He didn't skip childhood. He wasn't hovering above his life. He lived it: the boredom, the work, the relationships, the growth. Joseph likely taught him everything, not just carpentry, but wisdom, Torah, how to live as a faithful Jew. At some point, Joseph died. The Gospels don't tell us when or how, but he's absent from Jesus' adult ministry. When Jesus was about 30, he left Nazareth. He walked to the Jordan River, where his cousin John was baptizing. John baptized him, and the moment Jesus came up from the water, something changed. His hidden years were over. But those 30 years in Nazareth, working, learning, obeying, growing, they weren't wasted. They were his foundation. Everything Jesus would teach about humility came from actually being humble. Everything he'd say about work and dignity came from working with his hands. He knew what it meant to be poor, to struggle, to face the weight of responsibility for a family, to wonder about your place in the world. When he would later tell fishermen to follow him, he understood what he was asking them to leave behind. When he blessed the poor, he meant it from lived experience. The 30 hidden years weren't a gap. They were the making of him. Every moment in Nazareth prepared him for what came next. This is why the early church called him the carpenter, not as an insult, but as a fact about who he was. He earned it. So the next time you read the Gospels, remember those missing years. That silence isn't empty. It's full of the life that made him who he was. A man who knew the dirt under his fingernails, who understood fatigue, who had chosen faithfulness in obscurity. That's who stood at the Jordan, ready to change everything. Amen.